Hey guys, small cap investor here. It's been a while since the last one, but we're back with another CEO interview. This time we'll be chatting with Raymond Yanis from Atex Resources, which is my personal top pick in the resource space right now. We're going to be talking all things Atex, including the recent drill program, share price performance, and plans for the future. Let's do it. Thanks so much for joining me on this call. Been really looking forward to it. Let's kind of get into this. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you guys are super busy, but I guess first kind of topic of discussion would be the phase 3 program. It's obviously from the news releases, it's been incredibly successful. Over 1,000-meter intercepts and pretty good grades. It's the best program at Valeriano to date. So just kind of want to get your thoughts on how things have gone over the last few months here.
Yeah, fantastic. I think just getting a view on the amount of drill holes that are extended there, give you an impression of what this looks like. And yeah, we're really excited with what we've had. Our results have been very positive. Again, we're getting the 1,000-meter vertical intersections with significant grades, And the thing is that it's confirming our central trend with 11A and now with 24 coming in. So we're getting the extension of that one, fantastic. But additionally, we tested the western trend for first time on the drill hole 11B, and then we're seeing it again on other drill hole. I think it's just been an exciting moment that we started drilling the porphyry, if you keep in mind, in 2022, January for first time, going after the deep. This is just a year and a half after, and we've gone from proving the concept, right? That was on our first program early last year, to now extending it and really having a much broader view, but still needing a lot of drilling to confirm the size of this.
Like you know now that you're onto something massive. Because I saw in a news release, you said, it's really starting to shape up here. And it seems like, especially with this new trend, it seems like you guys are kind of hitting another kind of tier now. This is, it's world class.
Yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. And it's interesting, just to finance a deep drilling for a junior, we were lucky to convince Pierre Lasalle on being our main investor initially. And what's neat about that is that Hochschild had drilled 3 drill holes or 1,000 meters of mineralization. Yeah, when you have 1,000 meters of mineralization, the thing isn't small. We don't know the size, we don't know the extension. And that's what we did on our first drilling proof of concept. And I think that's exactly that improvement that it extended 200 meters in both directions, north and south. And now we're extending it in more. So really, we're growing rapidly into this concept. And I think this year has been, as you say, identifying that the elephant is big. And I always say, we haven't drilled the best hole and we haven't drilled the worst hole.
Yeah,
there's a lot to drill, and we'll have better drill holes than now, and we'll have some that are not as exciting. But it's going to grow.
So, yeah, it's big, but, even then you still don't know how big this thing could, you still need to poke a lot more 1,000-meter holes and you don't know. So, yeah, no, incredibly exciting. I guess let's talk about the upcoming results. You still have a couple more here coming out in the next few weeks. I think it's hole 24. What are your kind of thoughts on that? What are you hoping to see? And how does this kind of carry into next year?
What's interesting about drill hole 24, with the big advantage of having a porphyry is that you can see the copper mineralization. You can have a rough estimate on what it is. And from what we've seen, it looks nice, okay? And additionally, that looking nice on the mineralization side is that we believe that the drill hole terminated right where the central trend projection, okay, that we had, commences. And prior to hitting that, we have a significant amount of meters with early porphyry and looks with nice grade. So I think this early porphyry could be extended towards the western trend. We don't know how far it's going to be because we just drilled part of it again, but it looks really neat. And we terminated due to climate conditions, and we still had 400 meters to drill to completely go over the central trend. So I think it's going to be an exciting drill hole result.
So you guys were stopped short on this hole due to the weather?
Yeah, we had to pull out, but the weather up there it doesn't necessarily have to snow, but it gets really cold and windy in the high Andes, and it's very hard to operate in a good way and continuous way. We had some weather issues, a bit of snow, and additionally, very, very low temperature. So you have to pull out. We try to keep our drilling timetable between the beginning of October, kind of to the end of May. And then in those times, it will commence and finish. And this time it was close to the end of May that we finished.
So I guess this new early porphyry trend, prior to this drill program, phase 3, you knew nothing about. You essentially didn't know it was there?
No, we did not know it was there. What we did know is that drill hole 11 that was done by Hotshot, that reached a bit over 1,000 meters, had fragments of early porphyry in it. Yeah. Okay? They didn't hit it. So 11B is just a vertical continuation of that hole. Wishing to find it, and we hit it significantly. So that was a tremendous.
But I mean, it sounds like here that there's still a ton of blue sky potential. Like, I mean, it sounds like phase 4 is going to be, sure, this one was the best one to date, but it sounds like in phase 4, you still have a lot of work to do in really figuring out, who knows, there could be another trend. It seems like it's still very early stage here.
And yeah, definitely it's early stage. We don't have significant amount of holes into the project. It's a porphyry. It's a big size system. And additionally, as you say, 24 is telling us maybe the high grade volume porphyry is a little wider than we thought beforehand and not so narrow to the south. We have to prove that. We have a western trend that we still haven't drilled significantly out. We have to do it. We don't know what happens to the west of that.
Yeah.
Okay. We only know that to the west of that, in El Encierro, Antofagasta has mineralization. Okay. Our eastern trend, we haven't drilled at all to understand how long and at what extension it is. So it's still really open, and we're really excited on our next season and planning our programs for drilling. And the thing is, we're going to start drilling and extending 24. So that's going to be probably right away some significant data added to what we will show.
All right. It sounds extremely exciting. Everyone's kind of looking forward to it here. I mean, let's kind of talk about the elephant in the room here, if you will, which would be the share price. Because it seems like, the geology here is just consistently getting so much better. And this happens a lot in junior mining, but the share price is just not reflecting that. I know some of it has to do with the sector. Copper is not looking as strong as we'd like it to, but what are your kind of thoughts on the share price performance of late, how that translates with these drill results?
Yeah, well, definitely the sector has been under pressure on the land second quarter, right? And everybody knows about that. We also believe that there's been, funds under redemption, that require, and some of that has gone, and there's been a big amount of selling of our shares. We've been hit. So these are all thoughts that are going on. Mm-hmm. And I think it's hit us hard. Mm-hmm. However, we believe strongly that in quarter 3, what's coming up in our news, that we will have a new a resource coming out in a couple of months, and also have a new reporting on all our geology will help. Drill hole 24 will help, and hopefully the copper price starts picking up like it did last couple of years in quarter 3. So we see that it could be the moment that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But we are fortunate to have that our core shareholders and management has been, exercising warrants, and we've been keeping the funds to follow and go through this stage.
Yeah.
So we expect things to really improve coming up on the next step. Mm-hmm.
With regards to those warrants, I guess, people are kind of saying, hey, are they going to do a financing? What are your thoughts on, it still seems like there's quite a large amount of outstanding warrants here. Do you think that's going to work against you or in your favor in terms of, dilution as well as, getting money in the door?
Well, getting money in the door is always good, and it's going to come with a warrant. Obviously, when you take into account, a fully diluted company, well, that money is going to come sometimes if the share price is good. So it comes early, even better.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that we don't have an equity finance in our mind during this year, summer, or winter.
Yes. You guys are not
We don't want to affect our shareholders with this very hit price.
No, that's good to hear. I know there's been a few guys asking about that. Okay, well, no, that's awesome. And then I guess with the warrants, with the money from those warrants, which would potentially be exercised, do you think that's enough to get you guys through the next little while here?
For the next little while, of course, but we do have our core shareholders, and we're always looking at alternatives to not affect our shareholders in general, and make sure that when we do dilute, it's going to be hopefully at a very significant different share price. So we're looking at alternatives all the time.
And that's good to hear. And I know one question I've been asked a lot is about these warrants. I would assume that they're in strong hands. Given that your shareholder base here is very strong, would it be safe to say that these warrants are held by strong hands, like guys like Pierre, people who are really with the story?
I would say yes. And it's so fortunate that we can access them, and you're not accessing many people to help you out when management has exercised, friends of management have exercised, and I know our core holder will exercise part of it. So whenever we need to access them, you're not calling 10,000 people, you call them, just, count them in your hands, and you'll have a good response.
No, that's good to hear. It's comforting for sure, because I know I've been getting asked a lot of questions about that, and I know the shareholder base here is very strong. These aren't guys that are in and out. These are funds. These are institutions. Guys like Pierre, who they know the money is in the long term.
Exactly.
That's great. I guess let's talk. And I know we're going into the summer season here. You can't drill it more for a couple of months. But I know you guys do have some exciting things planned, some catalysts for the next few months and then beyond going into 24. So let's kind of talk, what are some of these catalysts and what are you excited for in the next little while here?
We're working really strong on a resource update, doing our model, like the logical model, bringing into a resource. And I think it's going to be an interesting study that will come up with something that will show our shareholders the value of what we have up to now. And that's a good picture that's coming up. And that's accompanied with a strong new technical report, really showing what the project looks like now. That's one of our main things.
It seems like the last one was done quite a while ago. So I would assume, given all the drilling and these, huge intercepts, I would expect there to be quite a big increase in, kind of pounds in the ground in the resource estimate, correct?
Well, I expect the same. We don't have it yet, so I expect the same.
Yeah, it's just one thing. I don't think people are really accounting for how much work has been done since and how drastic of a leap there could be. Aside from that, I think you guys have a resource update, and then there's also some met work coming up.
Yeah, the met work is right now. We have our special right here on site looking and selecting core. So we will be working on a new, on a study on an update on metallurgical, really the first one that has any to show that. And I think that should be coming up in 3 months more or something like that. So we're using a very strong Canadian group to do this. And, looking forward to those results also. So that's another one that's really important. And we're collecting at least 100 kilos per sample. And it's going to be at least 3 samples that are going to go out to that. But more importantly, we're already working on upgrading our capsize, because we plan to bring in, last season, we finished drilling with 3 rigs. We would like to commence in October drilling with 3 rigs, and hopefully can expand it to 5 rigs. So we're going to expand our camp, and we're going to start probably drilling with 5 rigs early next year, not immediately. So and that program should start in October. If it snows like it has snowed, you have to start cleaning kind of in mid-August to start cleaning the road to have it up and ready by September, with a no camp, and then September. So let's say we have very little time to work on anything else. We're starting that program immediately. That's coming up.
Well, that's exciting. I didn't know you guys planned to move up to 5 rigs. So that'll be even more constant news flow and really kind of get to the bottom of things quickly. What are the costs associated with one of these 1,000-meter holes?
And well, they're really 2,000-meter holes. We're looking to have, we can do other holes that start about 1,000 meters and do 1,000. But the mineralization, as you know, starts about 700, 800 meters below that, below surface, the chalcopyrite dominant one. And, these holes are expensive. To all in, take about $900 to $1,000 a meter. So I'm looking at, these are expensive holes.
Yeah. No, but I mean, at least they're not going to waste, right? When you're hitting these kind of mineralizations, it's more than worth it.
Well, that's something really important that you're saying, Adam. When you look at our results and how fast they've come out and how good they are when you compare to all the other porphyry explorers, we've been doing it very fast in a short time, in a short period. And anyways, waiting that we are even more efficient than that. I think we're kind of as efficient as we can be in our next program that's going to be in the order of 20, 30,000 meters.
Yeah.
We will bring that out quite fast. But again, we're advancing probably faster than average in the junior and in the porphyry sector. So, but don't ask us for more than we can really do it. Yeah, I know that. I see an excitement in the all around, like, you guys are going to deliver even more and more. We're going to deliver, and we're going to deliver well, but according to what we can. Each drill hole, 2,000 meters, takes 2 months.
Yeah.
You can't be. That's why you need more rigs to maybe come out with news in a much better flow.
Yeah, no, you can only move so fast, and it's important to put things in context. ATEX is still a baby compared to guys like Filo and these other guys that have been around you have been doing it for 5 to 10 years. Whereas, ATEX, you're right, it's still an infant.
Yeah. And think that we're in a new district where we have our neighbor Antofagasta with Barrick in El Cerro, right? And they're starting to grow. They still think they still have a lot of open ground, especially to the east where we found most of our stuff. We have to the west. This cluster is going to grow. This is going to be a very interesting district that eventually should be consolidated for operational purpose in the future. So that's another aspect. Don't look only at what Valeriano is. What is it in the context of a tremendous district that's going to be growing? It's still infant initially.
No, definitely. And one sort of other thing I wanted to discuss, which has been a topic of concern for some people, is the depth. I guess, block caving is a relatively new method of mining. It has shown to be successful, but there are, a lot of concerns about how deep, Valeriano is. What are your thoughts on that moving forward and the costs associated? I know I've spoken with Ben about this a lot, and, we've run through some models showing that it's really not as expensive. Sometimes it's cheaper than some of these bulk open pit mining methods. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I'm going to say to that is Chile has been in block caving for a long time. So it might be new in many other countries, but it's not as new as Chile. There's experience here. Second, I think underground mines is a way to go in the future. And, they need the grade. They are deep. Underground is a way to go. You have such a less impact on surface. Affects a lot. People are looking at impacts a lot more than they used to. Third, we see it as a strategic advantage. But it's going to be underground. It's deep, yeah. But the high grade starts at the bottom where you start with your block technique or other underground method. You start from below and you start putting in the material. You start on the high grade, which is another big advantage compared to other deposits. Some open pits work that way, like Escondida, and that was fantastic, but there aren't many of those. And so, yes, I don't know how deep you can start with an underground block caving, but I think we're in the general ballpark of what something would work. The thing that the catalyst there is a high grade. That has to pay for the CapEx. And I think we're going in the right direction in that sense. By seeing probably that early porphyry will widen to the south. We have enough along the western and central trend going northeast. It is a challenge, but at the same time, it might be a blessing.
Yeah. And some of those high grade, I think there was 550 meters of 1% in one of those holes, and I think people are looking at the lower numbers and kind of zeroing in on those. But if you look at some of these results, like 550 meters of 1%, that's a pretty significant interval at a very high grade. So
Yeah. And I tell you again, I don't think it's going to be the best hole.
yes, that's
You know, and you can name me the worst, and I don't think that's a worst hole. Okay, I think this is early stage. We believe that the high grade is there. We don't know exactly the size. We don't know exactly extension. We're starting to see that the high grade seems to be something potential to be able to pay for the cabinet, and that will make a difference because there's such an amount surrounding it that will be. And then when you look at all the integration with Lanciero and everything like that and synergies, then you start seeing where you can really build something big. Because you have the grade, you got other things, you can build together things. You have to go look for water down it, but it all builds up. Yep. And apart from Lanciero, you have more of course Tuna that also is in line for building, know how to bring the water up. So maybe we all get together. That this is really a good place to be for all this synergy coming forward.
very, very excited. And I guess one final question would be these next few assays, are we still on track? It seems like they're supposed to come out pretty soon here.
They're going to come out pretty soon.
Yeah,
We hope that we have it out by next week, but it's coming out soon. Okay, and from then on, I expect to have news continue coming up, and we're going to be drilling soon again and extend in 24.
When do you expect to start up again? With September?
Early October on the drilling side.
Nice to know there's some stuff in between here. So, like the resource update and network, and it's not just going to go quiet, for the next few months.
And we're going to start up extending holes that we have. So assays are going to come back sooner than later because we don't have to drill from surface. And we're going to extend our previous hot tap holes. So we're going to try to start with our drilling with results almost immediately to show that this has a continuity. So, these are exciting moments. It's early style, and we're really fortunate to have a good finance backup with important shareholders. And that helps us going forward because this is an extensive program, but it's an exciting work.
Yeah, incredibly exciting, as I've heard Pierre say in the past. Incredibly exciting.
Yeah, dear. When you gotta have a chance out of it, you come down and see it. We can talk about it. I showed you the tables that gives you kind of a dimension side. But when you drive up, when you look at 12 kilometers of operation that you're on the other side of the hill, and you can see it right there. That's when you look at things and say, this could be big. How big, I don't know, but this will be big. It's a thing that you can't see unless you go and visit.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. I'm just looking at the maps and the technical reports and all this and trying to put it into perspective, but I can only imagine in person it really kind of hits it. I'm incredibly excited for the future here. I'm going to stick with you guys and be a huge supporter. I have been for the last, little while here now. And, I understand that these things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and a lot of people get very antsy, especially in the junior mining space. We want it now. But to build something really great and fruitful, it does take time. Looking at these other copper explorers in the area, I've seen some go from $4 to $1, and then you look back and it's at $7. So to be able to stomach these kinds of moves, and sure, the share price, might not be where we want it right now, but at the end of the day, fundamentally, it seems like everything is still intact and better than ever, which is what matters, right? We're not investing in the share price; we're investing in the fundamentals. So,
just fantastic.
Yeah,
I just really appreciate your support, Adam, and that you're a shareholder even more. And as you said, you can build a 4-story building, with 4 apartments per floor, maybe in a couple, 3 years. But when you're building a majestic Empire State or bigger, it takes time. It takes time, and it'll be there. but you got to be patient.
Very happy you were able to join me on this call here, just so I can kind of spread the word and let people know that, because it's tough to get people to really understand these things, and just be patient. And when you find something good, hold on to it and just wait. But once again, thank you so much, Raymond. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, Adam. And again, just that's why I showed you the amount of tables we have, because you need to look at it. And you don't realize it. Well, that's tremendous amount of court. Yeah. And that's not our whole. Yeah. We're looking at something big.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna stay tuned, and hopefully I can get down there and see it all firsthand. But once again, thank you so much, and let's chat soon.
Thank you, Adam. And we're always expecting, and anytime you want to talk, we're available.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Greatly.
Bye-bye.